So I'm going to talk to you a little about what we did in May, and then show you some of the work that our leadership team, the pre-college leadership team, has done with some of that information. Toronata Tambun, okay. This is a new person. I
Yes.
don't recognize that name. So we shall see. Hello, welcome. Toronata, where are you from?
I
Oh,
think
Oh,
hi. I'm now connecting from Jakarta, but I live in Singapore.
oh, you live in
Mhm.
Singapore.
Singapore.
Okay, welcome.
Hello,
We have
everybody.
not had the privilege of having you attend before, so this is good. Welcome. This
I
is,
did
you
attend the
know,
first one. I did attend the
oh,
first
you
one.
did offend, was that 2 months ago?
Yes.
Oh, on peer bullying.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Oh, now we have another person. How nice. We usually don't have too many for this second meeting, so it's great to have some more people. Tony, where are you from? Maybe just connecting up.
Okay.
Maybe, okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Otherwise, we may not finish in time. So we started the idea of peer bullying, to study the idea of peer bullying in May, and we read some articles and developed Pascal Gambardella, who is the chair of the psychology SIG for the System Dynamics Society. He helped us with a diagramming software that he knows to essentially put together pieces that summarized what we had read. And I'm going to show you that first. And let's see what. Oh, so Tony is from Malaysia and now doing a postdoc in Taiwan. Great. It's good to have you here, Tony. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So Emre made this very nice interface for us so we can quickly move between different parts of this model. This is the review from May 23rd meeting on peer bullying. We had read some information and this was a very general overview. We were interested in bullying incidents in the school, students who were bullied, and problems, any students with problems. And then this was more or less about identifying the student who is bullied, the bully, students who were bullied could become bullies, and friends, how they impact. And then I'm going to skip over this teachers and schools for a minute. Then self dealt more with what makes a person possibly become a bully, a lot more emotional ideas that create bullying in a person, possibly. And then we have this one, which is talking about bullying incidents in a school and how it could, how teachers can be a possible influence on bullying, and then the school itself, how that could affect bullying incidents. And we decided, who is our real audience for this model that we want to build? And we thought that perhaps, because there are many models here that could be built. And so we thought that the most productive model might focus on the school and bullying situations in the school. So we decided to use this particular diagram as the focus of trying to develop a stock flow model. And we saw that bullying incidents were very central to this, and the relationship between bullying incidents and caring and uncaring teachers. We thought that if we're going to start a model, we want two main ideas and a feedback loop containing those two ideas. So we have something to start with that's not too big. We know that school organization is important, but if we were going to just pick two main ideas, the first of our leadership teams, we have two leadership teams, one team for the Americas and Europe and the Middle East because of the time frame, and then another team for the Pacific, countries around the Pacific, people who live in countries around the Pacific. So our first team decided to use bullying incidents and teachers as caring and teachers as uncaring as the focus of the model we wanted to start. We thought this morning, instead of just trying to start from scratch, the people in the morning meeting decided they wanted to see the models that each of our leadership team built as a place to start to see how we could develop a model. So model one here is the first model that was developed by our first leadership team. It had the stock of bullying incidents, which can increase or decrease by flow. And then it had the number of teachers perceived as uncaring and the number of teachers perceived as caring. And the more bullying incidents we felt, there would be more effort to make a change in the teaching environment to try to make it more caring. And so there would maybe reduced bullying. So the more bullying incidents, the more the school tries to make a change to address bullying incidents. And the idea here was the change is we would try to move these uncaring teachers or teachers who were perceived as uncaring. We would try to work with them to help them try to make a more caring environment so that these teachers would move over to this box. And so we thought, well, we want a complete feedback. So we added up these two sets of teachers to make total teachers in the school. And we wanted to see what percentage of the total teachers were caring. And based on that percentage, students would either, if the caring teachers were very small, we might get more bullying incidents. But if the percentage of teachers was larger, then we might have a reduction in bullying in bullying incidents. And so we knew this was simplistic, but it was the beginning of a model. And Emre made it operational, and he set up this very nice interface. And you can see that it's kind of intentionally reducing the number of teachers perceived as uncaring is being reduced, moving over to the caring teachers. Consequently, the number of bullying incidents goes down. Now, that was the first group's model. And we know that it's very simplistic and that we would need to work on it. The second group decided they didn't want to do what happened here. What happened to this model?
Oh, I think
Huh. What's
there somehow. Shall
it's
I?
like out of
Uh,
that's weird. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay. Well, I'm going to look at it a different way. It's
Diana,
all kind of,
shall I send you the link for the model
well,
in the
what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to version 2 here. This is the model. Okay. This is the model.
but we are not
And
seeing the page.
oh, yes, you're not seeing the page. So I have to thank you, Emre. We had this problem before where I change the window and it doesn't show the new window. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So this was the second model. Up here, it's still the same number of teachers perceived as uncaring and caring. But instead of bullying incidents, it was decided to focus on bullying students. And actually an aging chain here. We have a group of students who do not bully. We have a group of students who potentially could be bullies, but they're not bullies yet. And then we have students who bully. And we thought this would be better than the bullying incidents because there are more things that can be done in the school to try to, more policies that could be done in the school to move students back and forth in these groups. And so the bullying students, the more students who are actively bullying, that's what increases the effort at the school to make a change. And this effort tries to work on the teachers who are perceived as uncaring and move them over to caring. And just like before, we add these teachers together in the total. And this is the percent of caring teachers that we have. And the percent determines, this is a graph here, the percent determines whether bullying students quit bullying, they could start bullying again, but whether these students move to the right or the potential bullies move to the left. It depends on this particular graph to help decide which way they're moving. And this graph depends on what the percentage of caring teachers are. Or it could also change non-bullying students potentially into potential bullies, or it could make potential bullies become non-bullying altogether. And when we run this model, we get this graph. So the number of perceived as uncaring is large at the beginning. It's 75. There are 75 teachers in this group and only 25 teachers in this group. So there are more uncaring. Consequently, because there are more uncaring, the bullying students increase because the percentage here is low, and these potential ones move over and become bullying students. It grows for a while until we finally have enough effort by the school to have more of these teachers move to the right. And this percentage of caring teachers becomes larger. And so eventually the bullying student starts to decrease. And that's what's going on here. And the red potential bullies, they start to decrease, and the non-bullies increase. So again, this is a very, very simple model. The graphs in here are extremely simple. Straight lines, that's a straight line graph. The more bullies you have, the more effort is going to be exerted, which pushes these teachers over to this side. This is a straight line graph. In reality, these are probably not straight line graphs. You know, this is a because this is a biflow, then if it's 50-50, you're going to be here and not affect much change. But if the percentage of caring teachers is higher than 50%, then what's going to happen is bullying students are going to move over to be potential bullies. But if it's less than 50%, if the teachers are less than 50%, then what's going to happen is we're going to move this direction and we're going to get more bullies. The same kind of idea works here. It's a straight line, and more caring teachers move potential bullies to non-bullying. So we do have a dynamic and we do have a feedback. Some of the people in the morning group said, but you have to bring in school culture because that is what is affecting the teachers to move from this box to that box. And we said, yes, we know that, but we wanted to start very simply, which is why we kept it to only 2 ideas, teachers and bullying students. Then someone else said, well, we really need to know more about what's going on with the students. And yes, we could add detail for what's other than teachers. What else is moving students back and forth? Yes, but again, that adds more detail, and we didn't want to add that kind of detail yet. Another participant said the number of teachers perceived as uncaring should really say the number of teachers perceived by the bullies as uncaring, not by all students, because it's really the bullies we're trying to impact. And if the bullies perceive the teacher as uncaring, then that's going to be a problem that is going to keep them bullying because there are too many uncaring. It's possible that the teacher could be uncaring to aggressive bullying students, but not uncaring to others. And so they felt that these were too general. These statements in these 2 stocks were too general. And the perception should be, what does the bully student think? The bullying student, do they think the teacher is uncaring or caring? Another person who is a system dynamicist said, you have enough detail here right now. You should just play with what you have, change these graphs to represent different kinds of curves, see how that makes a difference. We could change the relative starting percentage here and here in each of these. I think the bullying students start at 25, potential bullying students start at 25, non-bullying students start at 50. So he said, there's enough here to experiment with many times just to get a better understanding of what we have right now. So I have just given you a summary of what the first session was, what was discussed there. So what I'd like to know from you is, do you like this model better? Do you like the first model better? Or would you like to start from scratch with just these 2 pieces with teachers and these with either students about bullying or bullying incidents? What we would like to do is allow you to think about, where do you want to go further? We're trying to develop a stock flow diagram. It does not have to be operational, but we do have an operational. We have 2 operational ones. What would help you the most? How would you like to proceed? We're trying to get off the ground, developing eventually a bullying model, a peer bullying model that will be useful to teachers and administrators in a school. Is there something you would like to do?
Hello.
Yes. Toronata?
Thank you, ma'am. This is a beautiful model, but I am just afraid if we don't right away include school culture, which is very inherent, you know. We can play
Yes.
around with this, but if the school culture, which is the shared values, it's automatic. System 1 is very hard, and
Okay.
I'm looking for your advice. If I were to put school culture, where would it be? Like, would it be in the number of potential bullying student?
We can
Because
we can add that. Certainly we can add that. I think the school culture certainly affects the teachers,
yes,
because if teachers are angry about the way the administration is treating them,
mhm,
or certain rules there, they may not want to listen to them about,
mhm,
becoming more caring. I think definitely school culture is another feedback that's
okay,
going to affect this piece. It could also affect the students down here, but I would not put all those pieces in at the same
mm,
time. We
okay,
could,
ma'am.
but then we have to decide negative school culture and positive school culture. How would we set this up? Emre, would you like to say something?
Yes, I was thinking about school culture since yesterday. Uh, to me, school culture is a very abstract term. Uh, it is it's it's a sum or agglomeration of something that we perceive, or we we do not we see the teachers, we see the bullying students, we actually can see the bullying incidents, but we do not see the culture. Instead, we see something and uh, collect them and name it as a culture. So I think we should find those things that might be some rules, for example, effective rules, number of effective rules, or number of uh, hours the teachers get training about, for example, bullying or psychological support. Uh, we should find some kind of proxies that we can use as instead of culture, because if we are to use culture, we have to name, if you want to put a number in it, we can say that it is from 0 to 100, and what is the school culture? If it is more than 50, good; less, not good. But this
Mm,
is quite subjective. But if you put number of hours or number of effectivity is another thing. But uh, I think we should be more concrete in naming or
Okay.
creating such variables.
Okay. So you're saying then school culture is too collective. There are too many possible things that
Yes,
could go into school culture. We need to break it apart a little bit.
and
So,
every person has another concept of
idea,
culture in their
right.
heads. That we are not. We might be talking about different things, naming the same thing.
So we could do rules, but I'm not,
Not only the
um,
rules, but we might have a brainstorming session to uh, show or to list what makes a culture school culture,
okay,
regardless of
let's
its
do that.
effectiveness.
Let's put school culture here, and let's put a text box and essentially say,
I think Toranato will
yes,
raise them. Okay.
I'm gonna call on you in just a minute. I just want to type this.
Okay.
What? Um, I just wanted to capture what you said. Okay,
Yeah.
Tornada, please say what
Yes,
you
thank you,
wanted to
thank
say.
you. I think Emery helped me a lot. I'm writing a thesis similar to this, but it's not bullying, but entrepreneurial.
Oh,
So
yeah,
culture plays a very important thing in entrepreneurial. And
right.
I think you, Emre, have just helped me not to be trapped into too big of a concept, but I need to prove. But in my case, in this case, I think if you allow me to propose,
Sure.
maybe the historical number of bullying incident.
Hmm.
Because in the last 7 years, in the last 10 years of this school, if it's obvious that bully happens so often, I can say, we can bravely say or conclude, it's very strong impression that the school has a shared values of letting bullying happen based on the number of historical bullying incident. So here in this picture, you did not include the number of bullying incident, but we can actually bring the bullying incident to help defining culture. Yeah. This is not school culture in general term, like what Emre said, but specifically to bullying culture. Maybe we don't want to call it culture, but prevalence of bullying incidents. Maybe, but it's good. Emre, you helped me on my thesis. Not bullying, but entrepreneurial. Thank you.
I think that's a really good point. That is a characteristic that we could quantify. You know,
Yes,
is it at a high rate of bullying for many years, in which case more serious effort would have to go into changing that particular culture?
Yes, will that help in the programming, Emery, if you have that number?
Well, yes, it's. I think it is. It will be very helpful because it can explain the speed of change. If you have
speed
a
of change,
very
okay.
high rate, or if you have a very long history of bullying incidents, so
That's cool.
it can be a part of the culture to doing the bullying. So you have to change it. Instead, if you are, for example, newly establishing a new school with no history, so the rules you put is the only rule.
Will
So
help.
you can just go on from those.
Oh, I like that.
I think the other thing is we could put some behavior over time reference graphs that putting in a policy, we would expect the change to be much slower.
So
if there was a larger culture of allowing bullying, then it's going to require more effort to change that, and it will take a longer period of time to change it.
So it can be a resistance to change.
Yes, there's a resistance to change. Right. Anything else that you think would define school culture?
Tony has written academic focused school culture, high pressure in pursuing academic results.
Academic focused school culture, high pressure, and okay, so let's see if that could then be the reason I'm putting this down is because academic focused schools, what if a child is not very academically gifted? Maybe they're just not very good at school. If the school does not recognize qualities in students that are different from just academics, the children may feel they don't belong, and it might make them angry or upset. So let me know, Tony, if that is if I'm capturing some of what you're trying to say here, high pressure in trying, in other words, are we recognizing the qualities of more of the students so they can feel good about what they bring to the school? You know, okay. Let me know if I have not captured that, or if we should put a different one. Tony also says, teacher has lack of time to care for students. Okay. So maybe I could say, are teachers overworked, so have less time to interact with students? Teacher has lack of time to care for students, as busy to achieve good academic results. Right.
Oh.
We have this problem in Turkey.
Yes. Oh.
Academic, so in other
Can
words,
I-
there's not a more comfortable, there's no time to talk to students in a more relaxed manner, for students to feel more at home, more accepted. Teachers overworked, so have less time to interact with students. This could actually be two different things. Maybe this should be, is there too much emphasis on student academic achievement on tests?
Or Diana, actually,
What?
the second reason that may be is the teacher is overworked for administrative things that has nothing to do with educating the students. So they must create a lot of reports for accreditations, you know, and that is actually in reality here in Indonesia.
Okay,
It took
too
maybe
much
60%.
non-teaching, or too much
Yeah,
non,
administrative role.
Bureaucratic.
Yeah, bureaucratic, administrative. Yeah.
Yes.
Bureaucratic, B-U-R-E-A. How could I spell
U.
it? B-U,
Wow.
bureaucratic.
Administrative is much better, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I can do that.
Too much administrative work. Yeah.
And Tony
Okay,
has
too
another
much
suggestion.
administrative work.
Mm.
Okay. What else would you put in this category of?
In my opinion, I wonder parents' attitude. I mean, it
I
is
think
really
yes, I think down
depends
here,
on yeah, whether parents are supportive or not. Students' bullying will be very different.
And in Turkey, I think, Chunim, I think the same way, because in Turkey, the parents are the main influencers that make the schools academic centered, because the parents' expectations is very high for their children to be academically successful and to go into universities and some things and higher grades. So parents are one of the major influencers creating the culture, school culture.
Yeah.
But how do you come up with the number, Emre, for this?
I
Any
don't know.
reference that you would use? Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
that.
So, but Diana, I would like to add one more, building on the
Okay.
Tony's thesis here. You know, in many cases, I don't know what happened in America, but in my country, a lot of elementary school teacher are paid very shit. Sorry, excuse me, very less, very insignificant, and I don't think it will even be worth of considering it as a salary. Imagine
Okay,
those teachers are given the responsibility to take care of this. I don't think they can, and this is where the big culture play in a country culture will play. So can I add here? May I add here like the
yeah, let
salary
me,
of a teacher
right,
or a motivation based on a
right.
reward?
Income, reward.
Yeah, is the income actually minimum? In my case, it's less than minimum wage. A lot of teachers are paid less than minimum wage, and yet we wish the students to become professors, generals, lawyers,
Yeah,
doctors in the future. Maybe not in
that's
Korea.
no. That's almost similar. These days, income of teachers are very controversial issue too.
In Korea.
Yeah, Korea. I mean,
Wow.
especially
Yeah.
at the beginning of stage. I mean, becoming teacher when they are a young age, like 20s, like my age. My age will be okay, but young adults, they are
Teacher.
really
Okay. Yeah.
unsatisfied with their
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah. Because of this low salary, many young teachers, like Mrs. Kim said, in my country, they become Uber driver, and they need to hand to mouth, provide hand to mouth provision to their family, young family too. Yeah. So anyway, I think this is very relevant. But we can add more and more. But again, this one is easy to get. The amount of salary, historical number of bullying incident, right? Does the school recognize quality of students? I don't know where to get the quantification, Emre, on the quality of students.
So what I did here for this was rewards adequate to attract quality teachers who are willing to spend energy trying to help a variety of students. This can involve salary. The rewards could be salary, recognition, freedom to be innovative, emotional support by the administration.
Scholarship for further degree, that also can help them.
I actually don't, I have never worked in a school that has provided scholarships for further education.
There are still people who believe who believe in the disillusion that higher degree can bring them out of poverty. There are still people who believe that. So they will say this is reality empirically here. Okay, I don't mind getting low salary, but if you provide me scholarship for masters and PhD, I don't mind. And it comes to a very big concept of culture, which is not quantified.
Actually, so there are some there now. Okay, so now I'm seeing school systems can provide a certain amount of professional development funds.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
teachers can use then to go back to school each year
Yes, ma'am.
and get further. Yes, so I put that in here. So it does look like school culture has an awful lot involved in it already.
Yeah, we agree. The morning people also agree, right? That's why you put it there. But the question today that Emery asked is how we choose among these that has qualification, right? Now I can see the asterisk 1, we got the number. Asterisk 4, we got the number. Asterisk 3, asterisk 1, we got the number.
Why don't
Asterisk
I
3.
actually put numbers here, and then you will, then it will be
Much better.
easier for you.
Yeah. So 1, we got the
instead of-
number. You see. 3, I got 3, I can get the number because I can get the time, yeah. And then 4 also, I don't know, but 5, I can get the number. This is to respond to Emery, the
Mhm.
Well,
number. So
actually,
I still
it-
miss number 2 and number 4.
but we, first we should define the cause, what we think it is the cause.
Okay,
Then we
okay.
try to find a number for it. So if we should find a proxy for it. The other
Proxy.
way is not a good way,
Okay.
I think. But if we think parents are the major reason, so
Mhm.
and if we cannot figure out anything, we can just put it somewhere, but it should be somewhere to be
Developed
Consider-
later?
sorry.
Okay.
It could be developed later?
Yes,
We put it
developed, but
someplace?
if it is a major one, if it is the major one of the major influencers or major causes of the event, so if we ignore them, this is Forrester's words, then we put 0. We just
Yeah.
assign 0 to them, and this is
Okay.
most probably the worst thing that should be
Yeah.
done to such a
Right,
major
right.
cause.
Mhm. Wow, very good.
And we have
And
two suggestions from Tony, I think.
Diana's comment on the BOT, where shall I remember it? Because after this, I
On
will not
what?
be. You mentioned something you would write about BOT, the BOT, what do
Oh,
you
the
call this? The overtime.
behavior over time graphs?
Yes, yes.
That
You
would,
mentioned
that
that.
indicates resistance. I was thinking
Ah,
that the
okay.
historical number of bullying incidents, if it's large, then I would anticipate that a policy to change it would take
Maybe
a longer amount of
longer.
time to
Okay.
show
Okay.
effect.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Emre was saying that if it's a brand new school, you could put things into place right away and see results right away. But
Okay.
if it has had a long history of bullying and you finally have an administration that is going to try to tackle that problem, and the teachers agree that they want to tackle that problem, it's not going to change as quickly because there's so much resistance. You have to
Right.
overcome student expectation. You know, you
Right.
really
So the
have
delay,
to do a
the
lot of
delay.
different things. Not,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
And you would
very
have
nice.
to look for leverage points too, try to find out what the leverage points are. I think this is a great list, and I think you're absolutely right, Emery, that we have to identify and Toronata, that we have to identify more specifically what we mean by school culture.
Yeah.
Tony
Very
has
helpful.
very interesting suggestions. I think we can put them in the list. The student-teacher ratio is a very good indicator
Indicators.
because it is one of the causes of time allocated to the
Yeah.
students, and the other one is government investment in education, the fraction, the countries. This might be maybe beyond school culture, but it is one of the
No,
general.
it is very
Right.
relevant. Yeah, the government
Because
investment.
if the schools are given enough money, they can be more innovative and come up with more different kinds of things to try to implement.
If there
Okay.
is no corruption.
Oh, yes, of course. If there's no corruption.
Because there is a bigger culture here, which is actually the nation culture. If they are corrupt countries, I can understand why the government investment in education is very less. And they do spending for school, but what arrive in school is actually just a fraction of what was
Right.
sent, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's not recorded, is it? Oh, it is recorded.
It is recorded. That's okay. I
Okay, I
don't
can
think
take that part
anybody's
out.
thinking that you're
Okay.
talking about any country in particular.
Yeah, see, no country
This is-
mentioned. Okay.
No country mentioned. So, and we've all had experiences in
Yeah.
probably multiple countries, so. No, I think
Other
that
countries,
happens
every time,
in too many
there's always
countries.
other
that
countries.
happens. Yeah. So, okay, I really think that the behavior of this model, probably we should play with it a little
Yeah, I
bit
like
for
it.
a while, and then we should decide which of these 7 items,
Mm.
maybe we could pick 1 or 2 to add, because it's going to impact how much the teachers are going to be willing to change. You can want them to change, but if the student-teacher ratio is too high, they're going to be tired, they don't have the energy to do change. If they don't feel rewarded, somehow appreciated, they're not going to want to change. If they feel pressured
Mm.
to get the students to perform at a certain academic level, again, there's going to be pressure on the teacher. They're just going to get tired and they're not going to want to change. This is all, actually, a lot of this has to do with, like, number 3, teachers are overworked. And so that can come from too much academic achievement on test pressure and high student-teacher ratios, so grading is very difficult. Certainly rewards, I mean, all of these can be appreciation of teachers, sort of a quality of appreciation of teachers. The bullying incidents, I think that would be fairly easy to add. So we only have 10 minutes left. So I think it's important that we capture this. And by the way, if we don't have your email, would
Yes.
you put your email into the chat? Because we will send you the model and you can play with it. Now, you cannot, you have to have Stella Architect or Stella Professional, because
Oh,
you cannot use Stella Online. Stella Online only allows 3 stocks.
okay.
And so that's going to be a problem. Now,
FanSim, you don't do this? Cannot use FanSim? Can I
you
export this to FanSim?
can, what you would have to do is, we could send you the equations. You would have to rebuild this in VenSim.
Okay, I like that.
Actually, you
Emre,
can use
send
it.
me.
There is an Xmile export on
XML.
import. I can convert this to a Vensim file and send both of them.
Oh, thank
Stella
you.
file and a Vensim file.
Mhm.
It is just a save as command, so it's not very hard to do. I can send both of them. So
Yeah. Yeah, very nice.
Okay, so Tony, you don't want to give us your email, and Chunin,
Miskin.
you want to give us your email?
Yeah,
I
I
have-
will.
Send
I
this
have
to
the
you.
Chunim's email.
Oh, he has yours.
Yes, but
because
I
you-
don't know, Tony. But okay, now Tony has.
Tony has put his in there. If you've attended before, we probably do have your email.
Oh,
So-
Jenny Park.
Yeah, Jennifer, that's weird, I know.
I like
Okay,
it.
so we
Jennifer.
have your email, and that will make it easier for Emre
Okay.
to send you the models.
Oh my
He'll
gosh.
send you he'll send you the Stella model and Vensim model.
Tasyakur,
Okay.
Emre. Yeah.
Thank you.
Korea.km.
Is this the model that you prefer to work with the aging chain for students, instead of just the bullying incidents ones, the first one?
I like this number 2.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is that okay for you? Chunim?
Yeah, yeah.
And Tony, is
Yeah,
this one okay for you?
Yes.
Yes,
Maybe,
it's
Diana, we
okay.
can combine both of the models by putting a converter from bullying students
Incident.
to the incidents. So more
Right.
bullying students, more incidents make effort, creates an effort. So maybe we can just use both of them by this.
Yeah, yeah. You mean you're referring to number 1, right? Historical number of bullying incidents.
I'm going to
So-
add it later.
Okay,
But-
you can, yeah, okay.
Oh,
So
converter.
then,
Like that. Okay.
and from
but,
bullying to the effort.
yeah, instead
bullying
of
to
from
the
the
effort.
bullying students,
Yes, that makes sense.
instead of
Wow.
from the, so it would be like this.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
Bullying incidents.
maybe, but if this is making, this will make it the model complicated, but we can just put one number to make the units work. Bully per student, and if you
Bullying
put
for
that,
students.
then bully per student might be affected from other things, because it can increase and it can decrease. A bully might prefer to do one bullying per day or 10 bullying per day, for example. This might have many causes, but as I said, this creates many more complexities.
Yeah,
Maybe, yes.
now we have to decide, oh, we're doing this as per month. Months are so we would, that's our time frame here for this model. It's 3 years and we're looking at it per month.
Mm.
Okay,
Mhm.
Mm.
now it's not going to run anymore, obviously, because I've changed it, but I just wanted to capture this right now.
Excellent.
We can
So
just
you
run
might
through.
want to take a screenshot of this.
Okay.
So
Beautiful.
you have the idea of what we talked about.
Yeah.
I'm going to, let's see, take out so it doesn't look like, you know, I can move this over too.
Well, in the model I will send, I can put these numbers and I can make it work because I can just put one for the converter and the other one just a multiplication, so it can still
Right.
work. And I
Right.
will put the new list so we can.
Okay, so you can just put one in here. Bullying students only do one bullying incident per month. You could just
For a
put
start.
one in here and then everything else will work pretty easily. Okay, so we have what we decided in the first session was we wanted to come together another time. What we wanted was people to experiment with the model, add some things they thought were experiment with the original model, and then add maybe a couple of other things you thought might be important, even if you don't make it operational. And we would share that and we would meet in November. We were thinking we could meet either in October or November. And I should have said October this morning in the first meeting, but I made a mistake and I said November. So I think I'm just going to keep it as November. In the November meeting, we will see what people have played with and see how we can build it up a little bit more, and we can play with it a little bit more and see. This is a model that can go on for a while because the whole bullying incidence is very, very big. The whole idea of bullying is very big. So we want just kind of a a not too big model to start with. So otherwise it becomes, you really want to test it in pieces at a time. So you would want to play with this structure for a while until you felt you had a pretty good result. Then you would add some school culture items and play with that. And then you could add some home situations down here that affect students and make them perhaps bullies, and play with all of that. But I don't think we would want to make it bigger, any bigger than that, because then we have, it's going to be too complicated to get realism from our model if we don't test it in pieces. So we really need to try to play around with this basic piece until we have it operating in a way that makes sense before we add anything else to this particular model. We
Yeah.
want to keep it as small as we can.
Until November, I am planning to make a sensitivity analysis using sensitivity analysis tool in Stella Architect. And I'm trying, there are 3 graphs actually affecting or creating all the dynamic here. And first I need to change the graph to something that can be analyzed. But after that, I'm planning to create oscillations or exponential growth or decline or decrease, many kind of dynamics that this model can create. But after that, when we find, for example, if in which combination does the model makes a oscillation, then when we find the graphs, we can go over those graphs that what makes that graphs that shape. So because the dynamic is always some kind of a graph, but the cause of the graph, what the shape of the graph, what makes that graph that shape, it is very important. So when we find some dynamic behavior, and we can go over that specific ones.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. So what I would like to suggest then is that if you are interested in continuing this conversation, play around with the model. Even if you only play around with the basic model that works, that's fine. Change some of the graphs. These graphs are not dimensionless multipliers. They are strictly graphical converters. And so you may want to change them to dimensionless multipliers. You may want to keep them the same and just change the shapes. That would be enough. I think at least if you want to continue the conversation in November, you should at least play with this basic model and change a few things and see if the graphs make sense to you. And you can play with more than that, but at least that. And in November, I think we usually have our meetings the 4th Thursday of the month. So you can anticipate that we will have this meeting again in November, the 4th Thursday of the month, and see if we can get a little bit further next time. Our time is up. So yes, it is up. So Emre will send you 2 models, one Stella, one Vensim, only this. And do you need Pascal's concept maps? You know, I started out with the concept maps. Do you need that as well?
I screenshot them.
Oh,
I
you
still have
screenshot
them.
it. Okay.
Yeah, but I would like to see from this the casual loop diagram. Is it automatically developed or I have to do it manually? The CLD.
Well, so if you're in Stella,
Mhm.
if you're in Stella, then what you can do here is calculate loop dominance information.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna, and if I've got to put a number in here, so hold on a second. Model view. So I'm gonna put a 1 in there, and I'm gonna
Alright.
make this just a multiplication. There. Okay, and this will depend on not bullying students, but on incidents. And so if I run this now, I have to move this up because it's covering. Okay, if I run this now, I can go up to this CLD view, and here's the causal loop diagram.
It's the one. Wow. Oh.
And it will, if you go here, these are the different loops. Let me move this over. These are the different loops. There are 6 balancing loops. There are no
balancing.
reinforcing loops. They're all balancing. And you can, it will identify the particular loops. What do I have to do? I have to go here. Like for the first balancing loop, it shows you, if I click on the first balancing loop, the little flashlight, it'll show you which balancing loop it's talking about. You can have, so anyway, you can go through, this is with Stella Architect. Well,
Okay, yeah.
actually, well, it doesn't matter. You can't use Stella Online. This is also part of Stella, the free Stella Online, but that only allows 3 stocks, and already we're bigger than 3 stocks, so we can't
Right.
use that. Anyway, you can get the causal loop diagrams.
Yes, yes.
So I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna take off, sorry. I'm going to remove this. Oh, come on, what's going? I want the stock flow. How come? Oh, I know why. I have to do it here. I'm gonna remove this because I don't like all those big fat line, big
Yeah.
fat curves in there.
Mm.
But anyway,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So I
Right.
think we're finished, and I hope this was useful to you.
Very.
And I think we just need to keep moving a little bit. It's a slow process doing a model, but the idea was so big. The idea is very big, and we have to figure out just how to get started. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions? Thank you. Do you have any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We
Thank
will see
you.
you in a few months.
November.
Well, actually, we have next month, we have our meeting looking at the goals and what we're trying to accomplish with the SIG. And in September, we are going to talk about artificial intelligence and how we can use artificial intelligence with system dynamics. So I think
Thank
that
you
will
so
be
much.
very interesting. Okay, so it was nice to see you, and hopefully you will come back and see us another time. Let me stop sharing. And we're glad that you came. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
I'm glad that you provide opportunity. Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Tasha
Thank you.
Cruz and
Bye-bye.
Farida.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See
See
you.
you.
감사합니다.